Personally, I think this episode is basically perfect as a Gyakuten Saiban story. I think I managed to finish the episode as I had imagined it. It's vying for first or second place of my own personal favorites in the series. As it was the third episode, my head was already getting used to coming up with ideas, and I managed to come up with the plot rather smoothly. The circus and magic. These were the themes I definitely wanted to use when it was decided that we'd work on Game 2. The destructive power of the Steel Samurai was really wonderful in the last game, so I was prepared to break all the rules to surpass that episode. The first thing we did when we were working on the scenario was the defying act of going to see the circus. With extraordinary excitement, we were all entranced by the strange feats performed on the stage. And the result was that we sorta used that for the background of the tent of the Big Berry Circus. The trick is pretty stupid, and the characters are outrageous. But I think that with this episode, I have now seen the perfected form of a mystery story that is possible only because it happens in the world of Gyakuten Saiban. This is from Takumi's blog posts on the Capcom blog. Welcome to Updated Autopsy Report, a podcast from Yotsuben and Friends, where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime friends and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hi.
And two dear friends of ours, Tiago.
Yo.
And Rose.
I am shocked. I'm horrified. You guys.
Dessy and I are the longtime fans, and Rose and Tiago are the newcomers. We hope that through both of our perspectives as we play through the series, it'll reveal new details and provide interesting commentary for a series that's near and dear to us. Today, we have all played through 2-3, Turnabout Big Top. This is the third case of Game 2, Justice for All. And it is a doozy.
I cannot believe that he thinks that this is the best case in the game.
Seriously?
I'm appalled.
So he did this 1, 2, and 3 came out, right?
Yeah, this blog post is contemporary with the game coming out. Yes.
Understood. Bold take.
This, if you, gentle listener, are listening to this and are wondering why we are baffled by this, if you have not played Case 3, Turnabout Big Top, coming into this, this case is widely considered by the fan base as, at least I should make this very, very clear. The Western fan base is widely considered to be one of the most disliked cases in the entire series. However, if you travel overseas, and in 2016, a Famitsu poll was done asking fans for what their favorite cases were. The exact wording was cases that gave you the biggest impression. Turnabout Big Top was 5th out of all cases in all games in the series. This came out around the time when Game 6 was coming out. Excuse me. So
I would agree that this made an impression.
It definitely did make a big impression. But
I had an impression made at me, I guess.
So I guess I'll do a summary.
Yeah.
Big Top involves the very start of the game is when Phoenix and Maya and Pearl all go to the circus. They're trying to show Pearl the wonders of the world that she has been sheltered from and give her a little bit of a taste of what life outside Crane Village is like. And so they go to see the circus. She's wildly impressed by it. And the following day, Maya says, guess what, right? The star of the show, Maximilian Galactica, has been arrested for murder. You gotta defend him. The usual setup for as far as Maya bringing a client to Phoenix Wright's door like a cat bringing a dead bird.
Yeah.
So yes, Maximilian Galactica is a magician. He flies through the sky. It's his signature trick of floating across the tent, in front of the audience. And he has been accused of murdering Russell Berry, the circus ringmaster, who was found slumped over a large, like, traveling chest, and his head smashed in the back of the head, killing him instantly. So, as you start investigating through the circus here, you meet all the characters that inhabit this large tent. You get to meet the ringmaster's daughter, Regina Barry, who is a sheltered 16-year-old girl who has lived her entire life in the circus and has no idea what like the outside world is like, as you know, a little bit of a parallel to Pearl. You meet Ben, the ventriloquist.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you
Ben.
for adding the please. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about this character. I actually hate him the most.
Yeah.
So
I think
for
we
the
can all
remainder
agree.
of this podcast episode, I refuse to tarnish your name, Ben, with his. I'm just going to call him Mr. Quist. Mr. Trillo and Quists.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that guy so goddamn much. Please continue.
So yes, Ben the ventriloquist with, again, his puppet, Trillo. You also meet Mo, the circus's like main clown, who loves awful jokes and terrible puns. And then eventually you will also meet another character then, who is Acro, the acrobat, who has been injured in an accident several months prior to this, which, guess what, is important to the case, and is now in a wheelchair. So, yeah, throughout the rest of the case, many moments of you dealing with all of these people in the circus, and not to editorialize out the gate before I get everybody else's opinions, but man, all of these people are jerks, and it is really tough to, in addition to all the like traditional frameworks of Ace Attorney, all the friction of the game comes to bear here. The tree style menus to move around in the world, having certain things only show up once you've talked to somebody. There's multiple instances of that are critical, to this, and get a little frustrating. And then courtroom segments also come up that sometimes seem excessively punishing, and counter to the way that you're traditionally encouraged to play the game. So before we get to the like solving of the case and kind of how things start to turn out, I will go around the room and talk to everybody. How you felt about the case. Let's start with our friend Rose first.
Oh, man. So I was the one talking smack about clowns the most because I had a childhood fear of them. And I will start out by saying the clown was not as horrifying as he could have been in the fact that he was a clown.
He was unfashionable.
He was not terrifying. However, I've had my first death in the game so far, thanks to the clown, and so he's still not forgiven. I did not care for this case. I went into this thinking, maybe it's not so bad. I've heard some annoying things, and I started out and I was like, all right, this seems pretty typical. And then you get to the segment. I think it's like is it the second day in court or the like second half of the first day where you have to question the clown and
when you're questioning Mo,
and the
That's
judge
second day of
and Francisca
it's
the first courtrum segment,
first,
well,
first day.
whatever. The I'm sure everyone will know what I mean because that was so frustrating. The judge just killed me for asking questions. Oh boy, I was not a fan. The ending was stupid at best, I would say. The only character I kind of liked was like Max, but like, I just felt like I was playing a visual novel version of a Reddit "Am I the Asshole" thread, and I just
Jesus.
everyone was the asshole. Everyone was the asshole. Max, my least unfavorite, still trying to get with a 16-year-old girl when he's 21. I'm not even gonna look at the ventriloquist.
I
He's
hate him so much.
right out. He's 31.
40.
We checked on stream.
Oh, he's 30. I thought he was
He's-
30 or 40 years old.
He is 30 or 40 years old.
He's 31, yeah.
The
He's
gameplay
30 or 40 years old, and he deserves punishment.
Yeah, gameplay annoying. It started out normal, and then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And even Francisca couldn't save it for me. I was trying to be non-judgmental, but I'm judging, as my grandma would say. We're judging now.
Dessy, how did you feel about coming back to this one?
I remember when we started to see things that I distinctly recall playing in high school, and distinctly remember becoming very quickly burnt out on it. I got kind of sick of playing through this case when I was back in high school. I remember taking a break from the games for a while because of this particular case. But I came back to it because I really wanted to play the Apollo Justice game, so I did it for Polly.
Do it for Polly.
I did it for Polly. But yeah, there's a lot of things basically that Rose says that I agree with. It's creepy that all these adults are trying to date a 16-year-old. Which I don't remember really thinking about at the time. I think I forgot about it, but maybe I just blocked it out of my brain because I didn't want to remember that.
I mean, I was a young teen at the time when I first played this game, so I imagine, like many of us, I was not as tuned in to paying attention to that sort of stuff at the time.
Yeah, I was like
and
16
these are all
or 17
anime
myself,
characters,
so
you're not always looking at the ages specifically, you know.
Yeah. I do distinctly remember this being the case that literally I had to take a break from Ace Attorney for a while because I just was exhausted and tired of, like, they were punishing you for doing the things that you usually do kind of thing. I was just like, you know what? We're just gonna, like, I don't know, play Spyro again.
I mean, to be clear to the listener, the moment in which you're cross-examining Mo on the stand, any statement that you press, you will get punished on unless you are pressing the exact right one. Because Mo's jokes have been irritating the entire courtroom so much that they start to say, like, Phoenix, you're instigating this witness now. You need to pick your one statement that you're going to press, and that's it. And it makes it very tough to get through that segment when you're normally inclined to press nearly every statement to try to, either see the funny conversations or figure out exactly what you need to present. And all of a sudden the game flips the script on you. And I don't think it's successful in doing that in like a fun, subverting your expectations kind of way. And instead it just kind of becomes annoying.
I would describe it as very unsuccessful. I did not have fun.
One thing I want to mention before I go to Tiago here next is that in the anime adaptation of Ace Attorney, when they get to this case, something very interesting happens in their adaptation of this case. They completely excise this whole love triangle subplot with Regina, Max, and Ben.
They
just completely get rid of it. They just toss it out the window.
Oh, the
and
best case in the game.
I don't know. Maybe somebody who was in the writer's room sat down and said, maybe they just thought it was. Maybe they thought it was too messy. Maybe they had other reasons for getting rid of it. Maybe it was the same reasons we're not a fan of it. But yeah. So Tiago, thoughts overall on this case?
So this is like the first asterisk on like the list that introduced people to Ace Attorney games, right? Like this is the moment where I would go, hey, listen, there's some shit that's bad.
Mm-hmm. If you can get through this case, you can get through any case, I will say, though.
True, yeah. So a lot of my grievances don't actually come from the gameplay. yeah, Mo was annoying, but like the second the judge told me, "Hey, don't press him unless you need to," I was just like, "Okay, I'll just be right then." And then
Why didn't I think of that, Tiago? I should have just been right.
Listen. I'm not. You know what? No, you try to flip this on. I'll flip back. Maybe you should have just been right.
Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have looked at a guide. I actually did. I ended up looking at a guide.
So, like, the thing about Mo is that, real talk, I'm on the judge's side for that part, because I was also like, Mo, you're irritating me. Like, I wish that I could punish the judge, because, like, this isn't my fault that he's like this. What the fuck? That's not fair. Like, just think of it from, like, a worldview. Like, the fact that, like...
Who called him on stand?
Fucking Franziska von Karma.
Yeah,
She's
okay.
the one who should be punished.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, it's unfair that I have to take half my goddamn health bar when this guy says a fart joke. Alright, before I even go into that, I have, like, a grievance with every single character. The ventriloquist. Why the fuck was he trying to, like, marry his puppet to a 16-year-old? Like, even the ventriloquist knows, we all know Trillo isn't real. It's a fucking puppet, right? It's not alive. This ain't a Batman the Animated Series puppet. This is a regular-ass puppet that this adult is like, you know what? Let's get married. Blonde 16-year-old child. Like, oh my god. So, fucking, yeah. And then there's
the bit is that, yes, that he's acting like the puppet is real and that everybody seems to act like the puppet is real.
No.
Aside from Phoenix, you know.
I do this thing where we all do it, where we give every single piece of evidence to every single character, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
That is one way of playing the game, yes.
You ask Maximilian Galactica about the ventriloquist, and people are like, don't you mean Trillo? And he goes, Ben or Trillo, there's only one man. So, like, even Maximilian Galactica's like, yo, that's one dude. Like, let's be real here.
Yeah, he's the only person who's like, I'm not gonna hit the puppet in the head with a bottle. Like,
yeah, God bless him.
His villainous action was like, that was pretty just. Like, I'd hit him in the head with a bottle of wine.
Like, Max only hit him in the head with a bottle of wine because he was jealous, which is dumb and stupid.
But at least he hit the 31-year-old
the man. Yeah, the man. He aimed right. That's fair. Yeah. Regina Barry, I think, is I'm gonna choose my words very carefully because I have mixed feelings about this case. There are some things I really do like about this case, and there are some things I don't like about this case, and that love triangle is entirely part of it. But like Regina Barry, not to go too far of how this case breakdown goes, is that like her role in all of this is legitimately interesting, and she's almost a product of like another character, and that's interesting to think about. Now, do I wish that it was not encased around this sugar-coated child that everyone wants? Yeah, I do wish that.
Yeah.
Lawrence Mo Curls, the clown. He's not hot, so I hate him. Acro. No, let me give you a legitimate criticism. Is that his stupid-ass animation got in the fucking way. And I was like, oh my god, just mashing through the That's not how people laugh. If people, you know what? Maybe someone does laugh out there, so I don't want to be mean to them. I dropped my phone. If someone out there does laugh like that, and I'm not being mean, I just hate this guy. I hate this guy. Now, Acro is a person I do like, and I think he's okay.
Not to interrupt you, but I deadass just understood the joke for his name.
Wait, which one? Lawrence Mo Curls?
Yes. I never thought about it before until you said it. I was like, oh, okay.
He's a fucking stooge. I have mixed feelings about this case. I hate most of the characters except for Acro. That includes Maximilian Galactica, because normally that would be my comic book character, which is like a showbiz little fucking himbo twink, but like he's dumb and stupid, and I do hate him.
He made me laugh a lot, like when he was by himself. But as soon as he was around the other characters, I was like, you fucking suck too.
Yeah, that's the thing about it.
He was
that, like,
fantastic, but
every other character sucks. I think I mean, a lot of my comments that I have about this case can only be done after the case breakdown, so maybe we should just go to that.
Yeah, we can get into the rest of the summary here, which is so as you work your way through the case, you realize that there is a really there's a lot of baggage from everybody. And then you get to meet Acro on the second day. So you're stumbling through at first without even having met Acro, who is, spoilers, the killer in this case. And so once you get to day 2...
too. I didn't like that either.
Yeah, so you don't even necessarily have him in the mix. You don't even know he exists until...
Not even a consideration.
Yeah, until day 2.
That on the first day, I believe another character goes, "Oh yeah, Acro lives on the 3rd floor. He's not here today." And my first immediate thought was, he's the killer. I'm just
but he
saying.
doesn't have a sprite, so it's easy to forget.
I gotta try Tiago's cool trick of being right all the time. I gotta get in on that. That could be helpful.
It's sick.
He did tell you to just be right.
He did. It was good advice, apparently. I need to
Y'all
start
make
working
me seem
on
like
it.
an asshole, but I'm just... I'm guessing.
Your
right.
guesses have been really on point throughout this entire game. It's a little
I like
supernatural.
There is a lot of hullabaloo around Max's costume. His silk hat, his white roses, and his cape. And so there is a lot of elaborate sleuthing going around where you try to figure out, this bust that got stolen or went missing is actually part of what made people think that it looked like Max was there on the crime scene. The bust was the murder weapon then, too. It was dropped on the ringmaster's head. And then you start to suss out that, okay, on the 2nd floor, which is where Acro's room was, he was intending to not actually kill the ringmaster at all. The reasoning for this is 6 months ago, the accident in which Acro lost the ability to walk, his brother was also put into a coma in a horrible and weirdly gruesome accident with a lion. Because Regina's the lion tamer, the animal manager for the circus, and since she's a naive young girl, she doesn't see anything wrong with just, interacting with all these wild animals willy-nilly. And the accident that you uncover is that she and Acro's brother, whose name is, of course, Bat. She and
That's
Bat...
their nicknames.
Yeah, I know, but that's what everybody refers to them 90% of the time, so... they were, an item. Unfortunately, Bat is still too old for her, but he's closer than anybody else in this story. And they have playing little practical jokes on each other, and of course, he puts pepper on her one time, makes her sneeze a bunch. She goes to do the exact same thing back to him, but of course, tragedy strikes, and he's wearing a pepper-filled scarf when he sticks his head in the lion's mouth on part of a bit with her, and the lion sneezes and bites down on her, or on Bat's head, and it's just a wild couple turn of events relying on Regina's naivete and Bat's not noticing that his scarf is covered in enough pepper to make a lion sneeze, and
He's
then
immune to pepper.
And then he's not dead, but he goes into a coma, and Acro is very resentful over this, and he wants to kill Regina over this. And he admits that this is irrational, and this is kind of, a little of a bit of an extreme reaction to this. But he says he couldn't understand that she didn't realize how much hurt she had caused. And so he wanted to get her back for this. But of course, through a tragic set of circumstances, Regina was not the one who found this, note, and instead it was her father, the ringmaster. He goes to meet to figure out what's up and why somebody would be threatening his daughter, and then he's the one who suffers and is killed in the process. So the final twist of the case then is you need to figure out where in the world Acro hid the murder weapon, and you are not given much to go off of. You have to kind of infer this yourself while you're playing. I'll describe this, and then you guys tell me if you thought this tracked, but you're supposed to go, it's here. The only place that the murder weapon could be found is here because Franziska did a surprise search of Acro's room, and it wasn't there. And now the only way that Acro could have hidden it is if he kept it with him and hid it in his wheelchair. And so it's underneath his legs, like in between his legs, basically, underneath his blanket that he's got over his legs in the wheelchair. You never see his full body sprite until this point. You always see him from the waist up. And to me, it always felt like a bit of a stretch to try to, like, yes, I could assume that there was some, the rest of the sprite was there and that's where the weapon could, be hidden. But it did feel like a bit of a stretch for me that I was supposed to go, aha, I wish you had seen his full body sprite once or twice, beforehand to start to get your brain thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it was actually a possible spot that they could have hidden something that big.
That part does suck. I only saw that part through sheer trial and error. I guessed literally every other location but the legs, because I was like, that seems like a dumb thing to say. But it turns out in Ace Attorney, sometimes the dumbest thing to say is the right thing.
I took a 50-50 guess.
Says the guy who's always right.
I was like, well, it's not in the room. Like, definitely not in the room. So it's either in the big shop or it's on his chair, which again, like Ben mentioned, I have never seen, actually. Like, except for, like, a little bit of the handles. And I guessed chair, or I guessed it's in this room, and I was right. But it was pure luck.
Pure luck.
Which is not cool. I don't love it.
So, like, that also sucks. That's the thing, though, is that, like, that is, like, they twist a lot of the mechanics of the game in this case, and every time they twist it, it's for the worst. But I actually so here's the thing, is that I actually enjoy the plotline of Acro seeking revenge, because he has all these, like, emotions that he just doesn't know how to deal with. And the fact that every day he's being taken care of by the person who put his brother in the hospital.
Right.
Well, like, Regina is the one who takes care of him every day. And it's like, coming into the, like, contact with the person who hospitalized your brother and is sort of responsible for your accident, like, being like, hey, there's nothing wrong going on, would also drive me insane. Like, I would go nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, because also, I think I think during the breakdown you mentioned that, like, Russell Berry ended up being the person that, because, like, Russell fucking knew that Regina was at fault, because he would not have gone to the location.
Yeah, the letter said to the murderer, and he knew it was her.
He knew that it was for Regina. So, like, the reason Max gets accused of all this is because the boss turns out to be the murder weapon. Russell Berry dresses up as Max so that no one recognizes him, but unfortunately Trillo does, because he's a stupid-ass fucking puppet. Like, the plotline of seeking revenge for an accident, like, I feel bad for, like, Acro is the only person I like in this case, because I feel bad for him, right? Like,
nobody else is deserving.
He was definitely a sympathetic perpetrator, which is I don't know if we've really seen that before.
No, there hasn't been a single killer who, like, showed any remorse.
I wish he was in a different case.
Yeah, like, I feel so bad for Bat, who, like, is, if he wakes up from the coma that he got put into, because he put his head in a Lowing's mouth,
to impress
then he's gonna wake up
to impress a girl.
To impress a girl, he's gonna wake up to the same girl being like, oh, by the way, I was at fault, and your brother seek revenge, and now he's in the prison because of me as well. Also, the ringleader's dead, and now Mo runs it all, I guess, which may be the biggest tragic thing of all.
And now we all decided to restart the circus with me, Mo, and Max. And Ben. And Ben?
Yeah,
why is
like, Trillo.
All right.
Trillo.
Actually, I have another.
My husband, my cat, the whole gang's here.
I do have another thing to complain about the final conclusion, which is the
Okay,
thing that
go
just
ahead.
annoyed me the most out of like the actual, obviously like the characters annoyed me, but the actual like crime solving, I was all on board until they so the bust falls out of the window and it hits the ringmaster in the head, right?
Oh yes, I was
Which
also
just
going to bring
kills
this up.
him.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
disguised himself as Max, so he doesn't get seen for some reason that like I kind of get, but also was like never super.
He just needed to put something to get on, and he did. Well, he didn't want to get recognized going to the thing because then if like he didn't want people asking questions about the incident.
Yeah, like I get it. Just like they never really went into that, and I was just sort of like, he probably could have just walked over there, like nothing would have happened. Like it was.
Yeah, they didn't bring it up enough for me to think anything else other than I don't understand why he's dressed up like
Yeah,
Max in
like-
the first place.
Like at some point they were like, oh, he disguised himself so he wouldn't be, but like, it
Okay.
didn't work, and he didn't need to, but they did it anyways to make Max more suspicious. And then so he gets hit in the head with the bust, the big heavy bust. That's
Killing him instantly.
killing him instantly. That sucks. And the cloak, Max's cloak that he's wearing, lifts up and catches on the bust, and then is drawn back. And they have this stupid little animation, and they play it like 2 or 3 times, of this cloak like basically defying physics by moving like forwards when it really shouldn't be.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I was like, oh
But it
man,
only could happen in Gyakuten Saibon.
I guess he's right, but I don't think that's a good thing.
Well, he is right because it's his game.
I don't think it's out of like. So, I don't think it's out of like crazy like luck that the cape would catch onto the bust, right? Like,
Not perfectly the way it did,
It
probably,
moved,
but
it shouldn't have moved forward like that.
when it floated up, it should not have moved forward. I agree. I think that I'm gonna like so like here's the thing about the thing that moved forward, right? We don't actually ever get to see it move forward. That was just like Moe's account of the thing, right?
I mean, we see
see
the animation.
this is Phoenix speculating.
Yeah, this is Phoenix's description of it. This is, I think, the point in which I realized how poorly the mystery is explained, and the way that like when they know the player can't figure it out on their own because it's a little too much of a leap of logic, so they need to have Phoenix explain it. You're not necessarily given evidence to present this. Instead, you make a choice earlier on, and then Phoenix starts talking, and as he continues to talk, he starts to explain what happened is that when the bust fell, the cloak rose up just enough to get caught on the bust, and when the bust was lifted back up by Acro into the second floor, the cloak stuck along with it, and this made it look like, Max was there and he was flying away. And that's what Moe saw that made him think that, Max was there and flying away. And Phoenix has to explain all this in detail, and they show the animation and all this stuff, but the player does not have a chance to, like, reach this conclusion themselves through presenting evidence or choosing dialogue options. You are just, the conversation happens and leads into this. So I do think that really solidifies for me that it's just not a great leap to make. It's not quite a logical leap. Like you could do it if you slightly rearrange the crime scene. I think there's some changes you could make that would make this a little bit easier for players to like go like, oh, okay, I can see how the cape got snagged on the bust and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a limitation of the animation.
I was gonna say that. Like I can kind of in my head, like physics wise, see the cape getting caught on one of the cards or something and getting yanked up, but it wouldn't be perfectly like caught on it the way that it was, and maybe it was just they only had a couple frames to show it, so they did it that way, and it just seems very far-fetched.
It's just like the conclusion, like the decisive piece of it, like evidence of what happened, is like a speculation about a possibility that if I were my dad, the judge, I would kick me out of court. Like, yeah, that seems pretty likely, but you cannot prove it. Like, I know they do the thing where they're like, "Oh, you didn't see the roses, so they folded behind the." I'm like, that doesn't really do it for me, buddy. That's not the concrete evidence that we've had in all the other cases.
Yeah, like the only way for this kind of cases to be solved is without concrete evidence, right? Though, like, because Frillo stated that he saw all 3 pieces of Max's outfit, but Mo stated that he did not, and like there could have been like a thing where like the roses just fell off before he even reached the crime scene. Like, there's other ways to explain why the roses didn't show up. So like,
there's reasonable doubt.
There's reasonable doubt to this, but do you think that the only reason Phoenix got away with it is because there was no other theory? Like, no one else literally said, "Hey, that's dumb." Like, even Francisca was just so goddamn stunned that she was just like, "I guess that must have been how it happened." And like, the only way that this is one of those things where like he presents non-concrete evidence, but then something occurs and that solidifies the truth. Because if it wasn't the bust, then Acro would have no reason to hide it underneath his wheelchair. But because he hid it, it shows that was decisive evidence.
Yeah,
which means that bust is related.
We get our physical evidence and we get our like confession, which is very important. But it just felt unsatisfying.
I could see. I honestly, meanwhile, I'm over here being like, "Whoa, Galaxy Brain, Phoenix figured it out."
I'm so mad. Furious.
I'm with Rose on this one. I did kind of take the wind out of the sails a little bit when they're like, and this one thing that we have to quickly explain is how it happened.
I guess the thing about it for me is that this is no different from Maya stepping in, being like, "All right, let me solve this case now." You know what I mean?
I find that questionable too.
That's true.
Yeah.
I actually do find that questionable.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just like, I'm okay with it because honestly, I wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, all right. That's the best argument you've made for it so far.
Because like at a certain point, like I was struggling during Acro's first testimony because he kept saying things that I was just like, God, maybe you acquiring new pieces of evidence in between the court sessions. And I always think to myself, like, obviously the new pieces of evidence must pertain to the new testimonies. It never occurred to me that the new testimonies could require old evidence, such as the hat that everyone sees the bust wearing, even though it fell on the ground. There's 2 hats, essentially, because of this bust wearing one, quote unquote, and then there's Max's hat that Russell Berry wore, but he got knocked off when he got bonked on the head.
Bonked on the head and not bludgeoned into a quick death.
He got like his fucking spinal cord broken by this goddamn bust.
Yeah, it could have been Phoenix, but thankfully he was on the sofa in a public space.
Okay, yeah, it's fair. If I drop a fire extinguisher from the 3rd story, that might have killed Phoenix, right? I guess the more interesting thing about this case to me was the like Acro's motive. Like, the actual case itself wasn't that interesting to me once I realized that, like, I think it was somewhere during the 2nd day of investigation where I realized that it was the bust and that, like, this is how it happened, this is why it happened. Mm-hmm. But it was, like, proving that Acro was the one, that Acro could have been the only person to have done it was the interesting part of the case to me. Like, the fact that because of the way he was holding the bust, he could not look out the window and drop the bust at the same time. So he had to create a, essentially like a spot in which he knows that somebody would go to. And he knew that Russell Berry would try to take the wooden box because it contained the very pepper that apparently Regina used to pepper Bat to death, I guess. Mm-hmm. god. This case is like a lot of this case is shitty, but the parts that I like about it are really cool. Like this is the first sympathetic killer we have. Like this is the first moment where like I almost feel bad for putting Acro away because in a way he's a victim in all this, and like no one here is innocent except for Max, which is the weirdest thing. And even like
even then he's a bit of a shit.
Even then he's still a fucking creepazoid.
Yeah.
Like you know what? Maybe no. That's also I guess the only innocent one. No, Russell did shelter his child to the point to where she became a manslaughterer. I'm going through my brain of like, who in this case could I forgive? Russell? No. Regina? No. Mo?
Leon.
I guess it's Mo.
Leon.
Mo didn't try to date a 16-year-old girl.
And he also didn't try to murder, so...
What about...
Leon... The cat? What's
the tiger. The tiger. Or the lion.
The lion.
The lion's dead.
The lion's dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, he didn't deserve that.
No, Russell had to do it to cover it up.
Oh,
what
man.
about Money the monkey?
I forgot about Money.
Criminal.
Actively... Well, you know what?
Thief.
I'm glad he's a criminal.
He stole your goddamn badge.
He's a thief, but honestly, like, you know how you can trust a dishonest person to be dishonest? I can trust Money the Monkey to be a thief, so I actually do like him.
So, speaking of Money the Monkey, two little things also that I wanted to bring up here. One, animal JPEGs.
Oh, yeah.
Just
amazing.
Delightful. Every single time an animal popped up and they have, like, a slightly dithered, probably a photo originally, that they shrunk down and then maybe touched up with pixel art. Maybe it was all original pixel art, I'm not sure. But they looked like photos that were dithered and brought down.
Bitmaps you're drawing.
Yeah, and they just it was just so fun. And also to make it look like Money the monkey is like moving around and stealing stuff from you, they would have him pop up in the right side of the screen, and then his profile picture would disappear, shrink, and then pop up on the left side of the screen, and then disappear and shrink again, and then pop up on the right side again, to give this like effect that he is running around, which is really fun. And then the other note that I also had was I wanted to ask everybody, did you cross-examine Acro the second time?
No.
What do you mean the second time?
So basically
this came
the
up
second
during the stream.
Yeah, during the stream, we realized when Acro testifies the second time, he testifies about the Ringmaster and about Big Berry Circus and how Russell Berry took him in and all that stuff and how he wanted to repay him. And after he's done testifying, the judge says, do you want to cross-examine him? And you can say, of course I'll cross-examine him. Or you can say, no need to question now. And if you choose no need to question him now, you skip the entire section of, pressing and cross-examining him because it is not necessary. You can immediately jump right to starting to say why you cannot prove a reason why Acro would have killed Russell because he was not actually trying to, kill Russell.
Oh, you just not do that?
You can just literally, it's the first time I'm aware of this happening in the series. You can literally just skip it entirely. Say, nope, I'm good. And you can go right to start saying, like, he actually wanted to kill Regina instead of going through that whole thing and pressing all the statements. And then the judge goes, I think we got enough information out of this.
Yeah, I cross-examine because, like...
When do you not?
When do I not, right? Like,
yeah,
I have to.
It's like everything that you've learned up to this point doesn't matter.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, again, I think it's one of those things where as a player, you're encouraged to press statements. You're encouraged to always cross-examine. You're encouraged to always say, yes, I want to say one more thing. I want to present evidence,
I want
one
to get that
last
silly
time.
little bit of dialogue.
Yeah, and a couple times here, you're not supposed to. So it's just interesting that the inversion here that's happening with this. So
like at least the one time they did that during the bonus case at the end of the first game, it was for a reason, and if you get it, it feels really good. But this time it's just like you don't have to waste your time doing that.
Yeah,
but
you
then
can just
if you
skip it.
do because you that's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're just wasting your own time.
I mean, they never presented it as like a way that they would say like, oh, you're wasting your time. In fact, I think that because like, if I'm going to assume what the average player does, the average player is obviously going to cross-examine them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, in the cross-examination, you do know that Acro tremendously respects the ringmaster and would never attempt to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
That it was an accident, that he was
Mm-hmm.
simply someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think that cross-examination just solidifies the point that Acro would try not to kill the ringmaster.
I mean, I guess this is where this is interesting, because I've played this game before, and when Iroh was like, oh, you can choose not to do it this time, I was just like, oh, really? Like, you come to the same conclusion regardless of whether you press or not, and it's just like, okay, so let's not, because I don't want to waste any more time on this case.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see why you wouldn't want to waste, but like, this is my first time through it, so I was actually looking for a way that like, either two things thought that I were coming for the outcome, which is Acro did want to kill the ringmaster, or he did not. So like, me cross-examining it was just solidifying the fact that he did not. And I was unsure of whether or not he wanted to kill the ringmaster. So that's why I was like, of course I need to cross-examine him. So
I mean, there's no punishment to doing it other than you are just using up a little bit more time to get a little bit more information for yourself.
Francisco von Karma doesn't take off half my goddamn meter if I decide to do this.
Yeah, I'm not like mad that I did it or anything. Like, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, it makes literally, but it's weird to me that you have the option. Like,
right?
They just lets you do, like, I guess, good for the speedrunners, but like,
I don't know if there are people out there speedrunning this game.
Oh God, why
people
would you?
People speedrun everything. People speedrun Mario Party. People definitely speedrun Ace Attorney.
How do you You just kill all your friends. That's how you speedrun Mario Party.
So what you're supposed to do is that you're supposed to play Mario Party alone, and you're supposed to play on a certain map, and you're supposed to pray to God you don't get certain mini games, and if you do, you're just supposed to fail those mini games.
I could do that.
You could do that. So like, I think the only reason why maybe so think about it this way. Francisco von Karma and the judge double team you on this like fucking when Mo is a testimony witness, right?
Get used to that for every other game in existence.
So like, I felt like I was being fucking mind gamed when I got that fucking prompt, because I was just like, is Francisco gonna be like, you fool, how dare you cross-examine this man who clearly loves the ringleader? You're an asshole. And I thought like, is this gonna result in my death? I was fucking mind gamed because of Mo. Like, I got fucking, I was reading combos that weren't there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be afraid forever now because of that clown.
No, I'm gonna be afraid forever because of fucking case 1-5. When you, the fucking last bit of that case where,
evidence
Chief
law.
Gant fucking tricks you with evidence law.
Oh.
That is going to be the thing that like makes me paranoid in every case.
Oh, I didn't get tricked by that, so.
I just got save scum.
That's,
you know what
I
it
do
was,
save
Rose?
scum.
You know what it was, Rose? You were right.
I was right. I was right, but only for that one case.
Just right.
And now, because I wasn't right, I have this fear inside of me.
Oh.
Also, I do save scum every case.
Oh yeah.
Fear when
I've been
wrong.
killed like 20 or 12 times. I've lost 20 or 12 clients to.
See, I just hit my first death.
Speaking of, this is the richest client I think that Phoenix has had to defend, so maybe he'll have enough money to pay for stuff.
Maximilian Galactica could definitely pay.
Yep, absolutely. So, given that he has all that money, as the case wraps up, the entire crew is hanging out there in the courtroom lobby, and they all go, you know what? Wouldn't it be great if we just started the circus again? We'll make it better than it ever has been before. We're all going to work together. Mo says he's going to buy whoopee cushions for every seat. And it's just, they all go, yay! Yeah, we'll do it.
Didn't you all just want to kill each other?
Live up to the memory of Russell Berry. And Max says, you got to come with us, Regina. You got to be part of this too. And she goes, I'd love to. Max.
Oh my god.
And Mo. And Ben and Trillo.
Regina, he's
guys...
21. Don't.
So it's supposed to be heartwarming, but I just kind of went,
No one learned
sure.
anything.
It hits different now that I'm not the 16-year-old girl at the anime con. Not that I played this. Listen, cannot recommend being a 16-year-old girl at an anime con in the mid 2000s or whatever.
God, I would never. I think because they introduced like this weird subplot with Max where he's like, take my photo of me winning the world fucking
Grand Prix
and inspire all the other circus members to try their best so that we can be the best performers ever. And part of me is just like, all right, so we should take down the ventriloquist quest. We could set up a sting, and then we can also set up a sting for Max after this case. and then Bat when he gets out of the coma.
I feel like if we just
he's gonna need a sting too.
Hit Max in the head with like a ball of wine, like a sketch comedy. I at least with Max, I get the impression that like he's gonna move on. Like he seems very flighty.
The possibility that Max looks at Regina and goes, "You're a manslaughterer, no thank you."
Or just like, actually, it's been like a week and I'm bored now. Like
also, he has hot bunny girls in his fucking show. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
I don't know. He's like, an idiot.
There's way better fish in the sea.
You've got money, bro. You can have anyone.
You can have anyone. You've got insurance, probably.
Let's not go that far. He works at the fucking circus.
Yeah, but he has so much money, he just buys his own insurance.
Yeah.
I guess if he was smart, he would do that.
He gets private.
Private
California insurance.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I was about to say, as the case wraps up then, we see Gumshoe having a phone conversation.
You guys.
Yeah.
And he says, that search that you told me to do, that impromptu search, it really paid off. It really paid off. And did you really have it all figured out yesterday? And the other person replies, well, it was just a theory, but if Acro was really the killer, that's the only way things could have gone, especially if he was the defense attorney. And the camera pans across the airport to show Miles Edgeworth sitting there on the phone talking to Gumshoe while reading a newspaper. He's
on
back.
A cellular phone with an antenna.
He's not dead. He's alive, and he's just been off on the trip somewhere.
At the farm. He was on the farm with the other prosecutors.
I was on the prosecutor vacation farm.
Yeah. Was he wearing dark
The combination
blue?
prosecutor farm and vacation farm.
Yes, he had his jacket on, yeah.
He had dark blue on, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah, it's like a coat over his coat.
Oh,
big collar.
Good.
Yep. So yeah. Who knows? Maybe you'll see Edgeworth next case now.
I think the best thing that came out of this case was Edgeworth. Every other fucking thing sucks. I like Acro the most out of this case, and low-key, if I was his lawyer, I would try to get him off of it, because a part of me was like, you know what? Fuck it. They all deserve it. like, straight up. Regina fucking hospitalized a man, two people.
Mm-hmm.
And the circus covered it up. Russell Berry's complicit. Complicit. Implicit?
Complicit.
He's plicit. All right. He's
plicit as hell.
Oh,
he's plicit as hell.
He's dead now.
Every single fucking member of this circus, if they knew what went down, they were all goddamn enemies. The only ally Acro had was Money the Monkey. And that's all he needed, I guess. I
knew it was going to be fucked up as soon as you talked to Regina, and she's like, well, my dad says when people die, they become stars, so it's okay if people die. And I was like, oh, she doesn't know what death is. This is definitely going to be a problem later. And it was.
The amount of therapy that she... So, like, I'm not saying... This is weird,
I'm right there with you. She's going to need a lot of fucking help when she's an adult.
Oh, yeah, like, she's fucked.
She's been through a sheltered life, and I'm not saying that sheltered people are going to become manslaughterers, but Regina definitely, like...
Hey, there's a lot of
She
sheltered people out there, and not as many manslaughterers, so...
You know what? There's probably, like, ratio of, like, sheltered people versus sheltered people who have access to lions. And...
Yeah, that's
Maybe
That's
it's
probably
like
a very small ratio,
that's
but
pretty low, I bet, actually.
Yeah, people are always using Regina as, like, oh, she lived a sheltered life, and that's why she didn't quite understand death. And I'm like, bro, she fed her lions meat. She knows that lions need to kill to eat. Like,
I don't think she does.
how
Like,
the
she just...
did no one showed her Lion King?
No!
Actually, you know what? Showing her Lion King would have been worse, because when fucking Simba's dad shows up in the clouds, that would have solidified her, and they all become stars.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I used to work with...
Jeez.
I used to work with young kids, and, like, one of the things that you should absolutely never do when you're talking about death with kids is to tell them, like, oh, you know, they just went to sleep, or like, oh, they're in heaven, or oh, they're in a different place now. Like, you should never, ever do that. It just... They need to know. Just tell them.
Yeah.
Like, because that is not good for them. It can make them afraid of, like, going to
Heaven?
sleep, for example. Like,
Yeah.
it's not good. Do not do that.
I don't know. There's something about, like, I should start by saying that I'm not a professional or an expert on, like, how to raise on literally anything. You want to talk to me about Mega Man Battle Network? I'm here for you. But like, I don't know how to tell a child how to deal with death. I'm not going to say that I do, but I'm definitely not going to say that Russell Berry did it right.
you're also not a parent, nor do you work in anything that
I'm not a
requires you to
parent.
take
How
care
many
of
disclaimers
children.
can I add? I'm single, so I don't know how to.
It's fine. I think we can successfully denounce Russell Berry's parenting style.
I just like, bro, you covered it up. The second you cover something up means that you know that you did something wrong, which means the second Russell Berry covered up Bat's hospitalization and Acro's wound means that Russell Berry fucking knew something was up, but then he went, oh, for my darling daughter, one new lion, and I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, you got her a tiger. What is her new animal? Is it a tiger?
Yeah,
Yes.
the tiger is
Tiger,
the one
yeah.
she has.
The tiger
What's the
that
tiger's
attacks
name?
us multiple times.
Is it Tony? Is that the tiger's name?
No, it has like a French name.
Shoot, I don't have the tiger's name in front of me. I gotta check it
We're
The most
now.
fake
implying
fans.
character
We're
in this
fake
case.
fans.
Regent.
Regent.
Oh,
Who the fuck named it Regent?
she did.
She did, I guess.
Oh, she sucks.
Everyone,
So-
I told you, it's an Am I the Asshole Reddit thread where the answer is definitively everyone here sucks.
I argue that
Yes.
Acro doesn't suck.
He planned on
still
killing a
killed
child.
somebody.
He was going
He-
to kill a 16-year-old girl with a blunt object dropped from 2 stories.
I would argue that he
No,
probably went insane in those 6 months.
murder is wrong. We are anti-death penalty on this podcast.
We are, but I argue that he is a victim of in this as well.
Just because you're a victim doesn't mean you get to kill people.
True, fair.
She's right.
You got a
She's
fair
right.
point. Who's
My
right?
last- My last 2 notes here are, one, at the end, you can accuse the judge of having the weapon under his stand.
We did this.
and the
Please
game-
watch the VOD.
And the judge gives you 2 massive penalties that take up basically 90 to 95% of your health bar. It's very, very funny because
He's like, what, you
he-
think that's funny? You're like, no.
I
And he
do.
goes, oh, you think it's funny? We're going to have another one.
yeah, have another one, and he gives you another penalty, and it's very, very funny. So if you have not played it and you want to see it, we have that on the VOD on the YouTube. And then also, I wanted to know, I think we're all probably in unison on this, but when you had to catch Money the Monkey, which option did you choose? Did you choose give it back, Monkey Brain? Did you choose stay? Or did you choose ooh, 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 scratch, scratch?
I chose scratch as soon as I could.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
We all did it.
I
think.
chose stay actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow.
As a
How
dog
did that
owner.
go for you?
That's the answer of somebody who really likes Miles Edgeworth.
I mean,
What's that?
you're right, but I don't know if correlation is causation.
I don't know if that's going to hold up in court.
It's not going to hold up in court, but I'll take it, because you're right.
It will in gay court.
That's the only kind of court I want to be in. I need to be judged by a jury of my peers.
A jury of your queers.
Damn it! Fuck! Damn
Oh,
you, Ben!
Ben got
I
there
was
before us.
thinking
God
about it.
damn
That
it.
was damn on the fucking, like, in the
Fuck.
barrel.
10 points to Ben.
I've been waiting to use that one for weeks.
Fuck
Well, that'll do it for us this time, folks. That is case 2-3 Turnabout Big Top. Oh my god, we made it through.
Yes.
You can follow the show on Twitter at Ace Attorney Pod to stay up to date on the latest episodes, as well as the streams and YouTube uploads of Dessy and I playing through the game. You can follow me on Twitter at Yotsuben. Dessy, where can people find you?
I should probably get a more professional Twitter. Yes, this is Death.
Tiago, where can people find you?
So this is embarrassing. I was gonna make the clown honk noise just now because I was like, I haven't had a chance to do this episode. No, because I've been working on it. I've been working on it in my free time. Like that's
You've
how
been
much
practicing?
I've been practicing.
Oh my god.
So like, I think I got it better. Like there's one version where I do without exhaling breath, so it's like, and that is like better.
That
But
is
then there's like, and like that I like better. Like that is funner. My Twitter is at Tiago S Dutra. I recently joined a coding boot camp located. I'm not gonna. Well, I guess I can say.
Dox yourself
You don't
right
need to
now.
give details. It's
I can say people know I live in Boston. I say it on my fucking Twitter. So like,
The greater
I'm a
Boston area.
Bostonian.
Welcome.
So like, chances if someone finds me in Boston, if they ever call out and be like, "Hey, that's Tiago," I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run away. I'm gonna run away as
Right.
fast as I can.
understand.
It's so like I'm not gonna be posting a lot. It's probably just gonna be like me retweeting the updated autopsy report blog Twitter. At Tiago S Dutro. I'm gonna pass the baton.
And Rose?
Grabbing the baton away. You can find me at Traum Arts on Twitter for my art account and Rose Nonsense for my personal account. Please buy my art or just, check out me retweeting Animal Crossing gifs.
Co-signed.
Buy her art.
Please.
Yep.
I'm poor.
Buy
Thank
Dess's art.
you so much for listening. We hope that you'll rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform of choice. Next episode, we will be heading into case 2-4 as we play Farewell My Turnabout. This one, I think, is going to be good, folks. So I'm looking forward to see what you all think of it. If you want to watch along with us, you can do so on the YouTube or play it yourself. And in 2 weeks, we'll be back here to talk about Farewell My Turnabout. Bye!
Bye.